August 1776. On the eve of the Battle of Long Island, General George Washington issued a stark warning to his Continental Army. Defeat meant slavery will be your portion, and that of your posterity. But the man delivering that warning, and many of the soldiers listening to it, were active participants in the buying, selling, and owning of human beings. Throughout colonial political literature, writers like John Dickinson routinely used the word slavery as a propaganda tool. They explicitly equated paying British taxes without parliamentary representation to literal bondage. This rhetorical framing existed right alongside an American economic system dependent on the violent capture and forced labor of 500,000 enslaved people. What played out over the next 7 years was actually two simultaneous conflicts. Two entirely different populations were fighting for completely separate definitions of freedom. By aggressively complaining about their own so-called political enslavement, white colonists broadcasted an ideological framework. Enslaved Black Americans listened to those arguments, adopted the vocabulary, and used it to demand their own physical emancipation. Enslaved individuals did not wait for the war to deliver emancipation. They proactively turned the Patriots' revolutionary vocabulary against colonial legislatures. In 1773, a Massachusetts man named Felix submitted a formal petition to the state assembly. He pointed out the direct hypocrisy of lawmakers demanding relief from oppression while actively maintaining a system of chattel bondage. Others took their fight directly to the courts. Through legal actions known as freedom suits, enslaved people sued their captors, arguing that shifting legal precedents entitled them to liberty. Curious, engaging Fanny Phillips claimed her freedom in a Virginia court by proving her mother had been manumitted, legally released from slavery before her birth. Her legal victory established a precedent that later secured the freedom of her siblings and her eldest son. By utilizing the judicial system and petitioning the government, Black Americans asserted themselves as active citizens. They demanded the same natural rights the Patriots claimed as a birthright. On the battlefield, the British recognized an opportunity to exploit Patriot hypocrisy by offering immediate freedom to any enslaved person who joined the Loyalist ranks. In 1775, Virginia's royal governor, Lord Dunmore, issued a formal proclamation promising emancipation to anyone willing and able to bear arms for the crown. The response was immediate. Hundreds of enslaved people fled their captors, navigating treacherous terrain and risking severe punishment to reach British lines. Lord Dunmore organized these recruits into the Royal Ethiopian Regiment. They marched into battle wearing uniforms inscribed with the explicit promise, "Liberty to slaves." This tactic induced panic among Patriot leaders, who suddenly faced the dual threat of an armed uprising and a severe shortage of military manpower. Faced with those realities, George Washington lifted his initial ban on Black soldiers. The Continental Army authorized the creation of integrated units and all-Black battalions like the 1st Rhode Island Regiment. Whether wearing the red coat of the British or the blue of the Patriots, Black soldiers were fighting their own distinct conflict. Their singular objective was personal and familial emancipation. This document is the handwritten United States Constitution. For the white patriots, it marked the final political victory of the war, establishing an independent republic. The post-war reality for Black Americans split sharply along geographic lines. In the North, the glaring contradictions of the Revolution spurred state legislatures to pass gradual emancipation laws, leading to the slow, formalized abolition of slavery. This is a schematic of Eli Whitney's cotton gin, a machine that quickly separated cotton fibers from their seeds. In the South, this technological catalyst combined with new, supposedly paternalistic arguments to aggressively re-justify forced labor. This chart illustrates the enslaved population in the United States over time. Following the introduction of the cotton gin, the relatively stagnant population line of the 1700s aggressively spiked upward, reaching into the millions by the mid-19th century. The success of the American Revolution fractured across racial and geographic lines. That fracture set an economic and moral trap that would ultimately drive the nation toward the Civil War. Because the Revolution failed to end chattel slavery nationwide, the immediate aftermath for the enslaved population was a dream deferred. However, the era produced a vital, unintended success. In the North, newly freed individuals rapidly formed robust Black communities and established independent churches. Leaders like Richard Allen utilized this newly formed communal infrastructure to organize networks of mutual aid. They laid the groundwork for a formalized, enduring abolitionist movement. The political American Revolution officially ended with the Treaty of Paris in 1783, but the Black American Revolution successfully mobilized a generation that would spend the next 8 decades forcing the United States to finally reckon with the true meaning of its founding.